Hai, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Ruslan bin Muhammad Fauzi. I'm, we are from K2, Group 5. Our case study is climate change and sea level rise. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'm going to talk about introduction. Climate change refers to the long-term shift in temperature, rainfall, sea level, wind and glaciers over decades or more, caused by nature, human activities or both. Sea level rise is a direct consequence of climate change, as higher global temperatures control the average height of the ocean surface. Climate change matters because it affects all living organisms, including humans, animals, plants, and their supporting ecosystem. Its most dangerous outcome is the creation of extreme and unpredictable weather, which damages both human societies and natural habitats. Rising sea levels can change Earth's geography permanently, causing low-lying or small islands to disappear. In short, climate change accelerates ice and glacier melt, leading to sea level rise that affect both living things and physical geography. Urgent action is needed to protect our future from this permanent and widespread.
Assalamualaikum. My name is Noidina Adila binti Ahmad Salimi. I will explain about the background. Sea level rise is an escalating global crisis driven by climate change that severely threatens nations lying coastal zone, our biodiversity and local communities. Moving to section 2.1, there are four main causes in this issue. First, coastal forest degradation, caused by illegal logging and aquaculture, remove our natural wave buffer which lead to habitat loss for species like the Irrawaddy dolphin in Kawi Bay, Sabah. Second, upstream deforestation and siltation cause inland soil erosion, making coastal river mouths shallow and leading to severe flooding because the river failed to accommodate incoming tide. The third one is land subsidence, happen in developed areas where excessive industrial groundwater extraction and heavy coastal infrastructure cause the local and surface to physically sink. Finally, greenhouse gas emissions from industrial, transport and fossil fuel burning activities act as the global driver by trapping heat in our atmosphere. Okay, next I will explain about section 2.2 regarding the key stakeholders involved in managing in this sea level rise crisis. As shown in the table, we can understand their roles through four distinct visual categories. First, under the government building category, the specific entities involved are the federal government, which include NRES, GPS, and PHN. Their core roles and interests focus heavily on enacting national policy and securing coastal defense funding. Secondly, represented by the map and flag category, we have the state and local authorities such as UPNA, UPEN, and various municipal council. Their primary responsibilities on the program on the ground are land use planning and local disaster management. The third one is under the shipbuilding category. The economic sector, which consists of port authority, resort owners, and aquaculture operators, are mainly concerned with protecting commercial assets and ensuring supply chain stability. The last one is represented by the fishermen and fish category. We have a society and communities including traditional fishermen, through orang asli Selata, and environmental NGO. Their main interests are defending income and preventing displacement from their resident and working areas. That's all from me.
So the next one is about the existing policies, laws, weakness and gaps in coastal climate adaptation. So 3.1, the existing policies and laws. On the international levels, there are Paris Agreement 2015 that limit global temperature rise below 2 degrees Celsius. Malaysia pledged 45% reduction in greenhouse gas emission intensity by 2030. Next is UNCLOS 1982 that protects maritime boundaries and EEZ. UNCLOS also does not directly address sea level rise. On the national levels, we also got National Policy on Climate Change 2009 that integrates climate change into national planning. Next is National Coastal Zone Physical Plan and CZPP that provide coastal development guidelines by Plan Malaysia. The last one is 12th Malaysia Plan 2021 to 2025. They focus on coastal protection, early warning system and also the mangrove rehabilitation. Next is 3.2, the weakness and also the gaps. First one is fragmented governance. There are too many agencies, such for example like JPS, Plan Malaysia, local councils with overlapping roles. There are also delays and confusion in implementation. Next is outdated policies. The National Policies on Climate Change 2009 does not reflect our current data. The sea levels rising at 2.73 to 7 millimeter per year. The next one is weak enforcement. The coastal rules ignore due to tourism and also the real estate pressure. There are also continued mangrove clearing. The last one is lack of long-term funding. The coastal project funded case by case. There are also some areas that left unprotected.
Assalamualaikum. I am Nurul Adila, S75105. For this slide, I will explain the impacts of climate change and sea level rise in Malaysia. This impact can be divided into environmental, economic and social impacts. Firstly, for environmental impacts, climate change can cause coastal erosion that has affected several states in Malaysia, including Terengganu, Pahang, Selangor, Kedah and Johor. Continuous erosion can cause the coastline to retreat and result in the loss of valuable coastal land. In addition, sea level rise accelerates shoreline retreat and destroys important coastal habitats such as mangrove forests, wetlands, and breeding ground of marine species. Another major issue is saltwater intrusion, where seawater enter freshwater systems. This contaminates freshwater resources and agricultural land, making them unsuitable for farming. We can see by the example of in Kuala Kedah, where seawater intrusion has affected rice field and reduced crop yields. This threatens food production and farmer livelihoods. Next, for economic impacts from the coastal erosion, the damage can be seen through is important structures such as roads, port, residential areas, and public facilities. Repairing and protecting this structure requires significant financial investment. For example, the Malaysian government allocate approximately around 182.5 ringgit Malaysia million for coastal erosion control projects in Terengganu. This shows how costly coastal management can be. Furthermore, beach erosion and coastal flooding reduce the attractiveness of tourist destinations. As a result, tourism revenue may decline, affecting local businesses and employment opportunities. The fishery sector is also affected. This is because of lower fish stocks, reduced fishermen's income, seafood supply, and export potential that lead to broader economic losses. Last but not least is social impacts. Many fishermen face lower fish catches and higher operational costs because fish populations and declining and fishing conditions are becoming more challenging. Flooding and saltwater intrusion are also threaten access to clean water and create public health concerns for coastal communities. As coastal erosion worse, Some communities may be forced to relocate because of land loss and damages homes. This displacement can disrupt families and local livelihoods. Moreover, coastal communities may experience increased poverty, a lower quality of life, and the loss of cultural identity, especially in areas where people have lived and depended on the sea for generations. Therefore, the social consequences of coastal erosion extend beyond physical damage and affect the well-being and resilience of entire communities. To conclude everything, coastal erosion and have significant environmental, economic, and social impact. They threaten ecosystems, damage infrastructure, reduce economic productivity, and affect the life of coastal communities. These challenges highlight the importance of effective coastal management and climate action to ensure a sustainable future for Malaysia. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum and good morning to everyone. My name is Azrul Amzangkain Amin. My number matrix is 75110. I want to present about recommendations. My first point is establish a nation coastal council. Right now, too many different agencies like JPS, Plan Malaysia, and local council are all trying to manage the same coastal areas, but they don't talk to each other properly, which causes endless delays and confusion. To fix this, Malaysia should create one single national coastal council under the Prime Minister Department that actually has the power to final decisions. Okay, my next point is mandate a 5-year policy review cycles, which is our main climax policy has written back in 2009, which is a very long time ago. When you consider how much faster sea levels are rising now than scientists predicted back then, in Malaysia, sea levels are already going up between 2.73 millimeter and 7.0 millimeter every year. So, using all numbers to plan for the future just doesn't make sense. My third point is strengthen enforcement against illegal mangrove clearing and coastal development, which is despite all the law on paper, developers and loggers are still clearing mangrove and the building whenever they want, because the money from tourism and real estate is just too tempting. My next point is enact a climate displacement act, which is nobody really knows what happened to people when their village gets swallowed by the sea, because Malaysia currently has no law then that deals with climate displacement at all. My fifth point is create a permanent coastal adaptation funds, which is right now coastal protection project only get money when something bad happens and politician notice, which means many vulnerable areas are left completely unprotected once that year's funding runs out. My next point is mandate climate resilience infrastructure standards, which is keep buildings, roads, houses, and port right at the water's edge using all standards that don't account for how high the sea actually gets during the storm and the high tides, and then we act surprised when places like Batu Rakit beach in Terengganu get destroyed by erosions. Okay, my last point is launch a national mangrove and coastal forest restoration program, which is we have spent decades cutting down mangrove for timber, fuels, and developments, and now those natural barriers that used to protect coastlines from waste and storm surge are mostly gone. So, Malaysia should commit to restoring at least 20,000 hectares of mangrove within 10 years, focusing first on the most critical estuaries in Selangor, Sabah, and Johor.
In conclusion, climate change and sea level rise pose serious threat to Malaysian environments, economy and coastal communities, while policy exists. Stronger implementation, enforcement and funding are external. Immediate action through improved governance, coastal adaptation measure and ecosystem restoration is crucial to reduce future risks and enhance national releases.